What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 37 of Beyond the Finish Line, a running podcast that transcends far beyond the distance. I am your host, Joe Hardin. I'm a passionate trail and ultra distance enthusiast myself. Today we have Jeff Walker. I'm really excited to get to know Jeff. I've had a few run-ins with him at some different backyards. He's been the subject one of the subjects of Chasing 100, a really cool documentary about my buddy TJ's race, Prairie on Fire. But before me and Jeff dive into this conversation, do me a favor, like, share, rate, review the podcast. If you feel so inclined, give me a 5-star review. And if you don't, keep it to yourself. Just kidding. But yeah, do me a huge favor, friends of the pod. You can also go to Spotify. You can comment on the podcast. It's been really cool seeing people respond to the episodes like in that format. So it's a really cool way where we can like keep the conversation going after the podcast airs, and that's been really cool to get people's like takes and comments on some of the episodes. So without any further ado, let's talk with Jeff Walker. What's up, Jeff? How's it going?
Going well. How are you doing?
Good. I'm stoked to have you on. I believe my first time meeting you was at 24 Prairie on Fire. And it was like you really like Prairie on Fire is like probably one of my favorite events of the year. TJ is a great guy. Man, he just puts on a hell of an event. He's a client of mine too, outside of just being a friend. So I get to make the awards, which is really cool. So, and it's been cool seeing Prairie on Fire grow over the last few years. And you put on a hell of a show. Well, the last 2 years, we'll seeing. So you were on the list of people I wanted to talk to. Um, you know, I may not be like a good backyard runner, but it's one of my formats. And seeing like it's just a format. It's just I tried to explain this to other people about how I feel about backyards. It's obviously like a totally different vibe. It has like a run club vibe, and like it's its own community. I'm like dear friends with people I met at backyards. So to me, it's like one of the coolest formats. You're not competing against each other. You're like building each other up. You're pushing each other um, to new limits. And it's just been, I think it's just like one of the coolest formats. It's one that I struggle with the most. It's like my white whale. I can't quite get past like that 50-mile mark at a backyard, but it's one that I'm going to keep trying until I get it. I want to see at least the night loop at Prairie on Fire. I didn't get to do it last year or this year, but so yeah, that was my rant about how I feel about backyards.
I love back.
Yeah, and it shows. So as I do with all my guests, I want to give you some space, to tell me or the listeners, like, who is Jeff Walker? Like, what makes you tick?
Still trying to figure that out as myself, but I'm a teacher, soon to be husband, and a runner. Takes up a lot of my time, obviously, and soon to be stepdad as well. So that's an exciting thing happening in my life as well, pretty here soon.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I've running has been off and on a part of my life since high school. It's been a start and stop journey, and there's a lot of stories in there along the way. But yeah, I'd say those are the things that describe me the most. I'm a very fun guy. I like to laugh, joke. Once I get to know you, I will make fun of you quite often. So if I make fun of you by the end of this conversation, don't hold it against me.
Oh, cool. I'll know that I'm in good standing then if you make fun of me. Well, cool. Yeah. So take us back. So it started in high school. Did you do like cross country or like track or anything like that?
Like growing up, I was like I played football, wrestling, and wrestling was really my main sport in high school. I just grew up wrestling from like age 4 on, basically. My freshman year of high school, though, my brother was a senior, and he played football, and he decided he was going to go out for the cross country team his senior year. just to prepare for wrestling a little bit better. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'm a cross country runner now because if he's doing it, I'm going to do it too. And so I started running that summer before my freshman year. And, I look back now and it kind of came at the perfect time in my life. At the very tail end of my freshman year's cross country season, my dad passed away. And then I look back now and I'm like, man, running and the group of guys that I'm still friends with, 24 years later, they're still a big part of my life. They were on the cross country team. So, luckily my brother decided to run cross country his senior year, or I probably never would have. But yeah, I was an okay runner in high school. We started out my freshman year, we beat one team the entire year, and it was the very first meet of the year. I think I got like fourth place overall, and I thought, man, I'm good at this. And then it turns out I wasn't that good at it. I was barely breaking 20 minutes, I think. And I never got that much faster. Our team got better, and I kind of stayed. I would run in the 17s, probably 18s. Team got better. We ended up going to state like my senior year.
Oh,
But
cool.
we just like grew with our coach. Loved the guy. I need to get in contact with him again. Actually, Jeff Gamble, he was an awesome coach and really got the best out of us. And then college came. I still kind of ran. I like that aspect of like pushing myself. Going out on a long run, being totally wrecked and not be able to run again for another week, that sort of thing. Or it was just kind of I loved going out for the long runs. I didn't like doing the little 30-minute runs and the stretching and all that stuff. So that's kind of how that went for a while. And then I kind of stopped running. I got married. Very unhealthy lifestyle. My diet was horrible, which it's still not great, to be honest with you. Was probably drinking too much. And then, I still remember the story. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio at IKEA, start of many great stories. And they had a bathroom display, and there was a bathroom scale in the bathroom display. So I'm like, I'll step on the scale and see what I weigh. And granted, I'm maybe 5'6". Like I'm not a very tall guy. And I stepped on and it said I weighed 198 pounds. And I was like, well, that can't be right. And I just blew it off and thought, there's no way I weigh that much. I've never weighed that much. So spend the rest of the day in Cincinnati, go home back to Indianapolis and step on the scale at home. And it said I weighed 199 pounds. So I was like, right then and there, I decided, well, I've got to get consistent and run, because I had stopped running at that point. I've got to do something. So in typical Jeff way, I decided that next weekend I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought a headlamp, and I said, I'm going to go and just run through the night. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be pretty. I think I did it at night because I didn't want people to see me, honestly.
I've been there.
Yeah. So I had this thing in my head. I was going to do like 40 miles, which looking back was totally like, having not run for years, there's no way I was making it 40 miles. I did make it like 26 miles on the Plainfield bike paths, and then fell asleep on a park bench. woke up at dawn and like hobbled home, and I was a runner now. So I recovered from that and just started just being consistent with it. I've never been like a run streak guy, but I always tried to get at least 5 runs in a week, and I started doing that right about that time. And that would have been probably in around 2010, 2011, in that time range. I was in my late 20s. Still wasn't running any races. I don't think I ran any ultras until maybe like 2012, somewhere in there was when I ran my first ultra. I did run a marathon when I was in college. I signed up the night before and ran the old Fort Harrison Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my brother had signed up, so I went to go pick up his packet for him. Probably skipped class in college to go do that, and got there, and they're like, "Why don't you sign up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why don't I sign up?" So I ran that marathon, and that was basically my first race post high school. Um, you know, typical first marathon, underfueled, crawled to the finish, almost broke 4 hours, but didn't quite. So, um,
Oh wow.
yeah. So it was a struggle. Um, but yeah, got into ultras pretty soon after that, I guess. Um, well, after I got healthier, I got into ultras pretty soon. I didn't really mess around with like the 5K thing or the 10K. I ran a couple marathons and decided that I liked the longer stuff.
Um, yeah. So, what would do you remember what your first ultra was?
First ultra was a 12-hour timed event in Terre Haute, the Hawthorne half day um, ultra
Oh, cool,
back in 2012. Yeah, and I think I did like
cool.
65
Um,
miles was about what I got there.
wow, cool. I still haven't done that yet. I should this year, and then I'm off and on struggled with injury this year. Hasn't been my finest year, but I'm on a
Yeah,
I'm on a recovery path here. So
it's a great event. They do a great job with it. I've done the relay the last couple of years actually with a group of guys, which is fun. Just
oh,
busting
cool.
out fast 5K after fast 5K.
Yeah. Um, do you remember? You said you did the Fort Bend marathon, but when did your running change to like trail running? Like, because I see you do a lot of trail running too, like road running and trail running.
hmm
When did that shift kind of happen for you?
That would have been probably around that 2012, that 12-hour at Hawthorne. Um, like I still didn't know anything. I went out there and it's in May. I think it actually back then it was in June. And that first year it was literally like 95 degrees, and they were talking about like maybe we'll postpone this, And I went out there and I cramped so badly. Like I was drinking water, maybe throwing in a Gatorade every now and then, underfueled. And I remember got to the point where like the last hour I was just walking with my brother and trying to jog every once in a while. And my calves were cramping, which is going to be a common theme we're going to talk about, I think, throughout this evening. Um, and then literally my tongue cramp. I've never had my tongue cramp before, but my
Wow.
tongue cramped, and I remember thinking I think I should probably just be done. So yeah, I stopped maybe like 30 minutes early because it was just rough. Like that next year, it was kind of the same thing. It was kind of warm. I did a little. I'm a slow learner, but I do learn a little bit at a time. Fueled a little bit better, ran a little bit farther. Um, but yeah, I've never actually won that race. I would like to go back to it because it's got a cool trophy. I know you do awards. It's got this huge like eagle statue.
Oh,
It's
cool.
like maybe like a foot and a half tall, so it's pretty cool. I'd like to get one of those eagles, but it's a tough race to win. There's a lot of good runners that go to that, and
Yeah, I'm
Major does a
excited
good
to.
job with it.
Yeah, I'm excited to take it on this year. It's funny that you said same thing. I've had to learn so many lessons in ultra running like the hard way. It's like I refuse to learn it ahead of time until. But I think tongue cramping might be the first I've ever heard of that. That's
Yeah,
I
I've
believe
not had it
it.
since.
That's a new one.
Yeah,
I've had some weird stuff happen, but that's a new one for me. That's cool. So when do, I mean, man, it's like I don't want to bounce around because I want to get to some of the latest stuff you've done. But
yeah,
where did you go from? You go from Hawthorne Half Day, like that's a hell of an ultra debut too.
yeah,
You go from there to like, I mean, I did like a little bit of ultra sign up,
yeah.
like
I
like
had to go do the
knockout, like
same
the
thing.
IT 100, and yeah.
hmm
Um,
I did.
so when do you go from like Hawthorne Half Day to like the IT 100 and
Yeah, so I did
yeah?
Owen Putnam a couple years after
Oh
Hawthorne.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So early on, like I would not race I didn't race much. there'd be years I wouldn't race at all. I ran, I trained, but just things going on in life. There was a couple years in there, I was remodeling a house. I still ran most days, but I just didn't find time to race. So early on, I would say I raced sparingly. I'm racing more now in these last few years than I have. But Owen Putnam, the 50 miler, I think that was maybe like in like 2015, 16, somewhere in there. Was like, man, that is a 50 miler disguised as a Tough Mudder. It is the toughest race. But it's close by. It's one that I go to, and then I take a couple years off and then I forget how much I hate that race or how challenging it is.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's worth everybody trying and going out there. Just don't expect a fast time. But I ran that maybe in 2015 or 16, and was lucky enough, to win that race. But even in that race, like I was in the lead, maybe like with 15 miles left, and I was cramping, and I'm walking. Every time I tried to run, my calves would seize back up, and how I finally get to an aid station, and I'm like, I can't drop if I'm in the lead. Like I got to at least keep moving forward and until I get past, and then maybe I'll drop. And I'm cramping, and they're like, do you want some salt pills? And I'm like, I didn't know there were salt pills. I didn't know this was a thing. And they like, how many do you want? And I'm like, 2. Like I didn't even know like what to do or what I needed to take. So I took some salt pills. They kicked in, and I was able to jog the rest of the way in. But even like my successes there were so many struggles in those successes, in those early races especially. My first 100 would have been a couple of years after that at Tunnel Hill, which is a great first 100 to do. Went in with that, hoping, my goal was to run under 20 hours, at least 24. You want to get that sub 24. And I don't know, I felt horrible for the first 20 miles, and then things clicked. And I ended up, running like 17:05, which was my first
Oh, wow.
I felt really good about that effort, and thought I should race more often. It made me feel good. So then once COVID happened, I had this idea in my head that I was going to run like, it's going to be like Anton Krupicka back in the old days. I'm running like 200-mile weeks. There's not going to be a shirt on. I know I'm going to be out there looking good. And COVID came, and I'm a teacher, so I was, we were doing e-learning. We'd never done e-learning before. Literally, we were learning how to use Google Classroom the week that we had to start. So it was just it was a stressful time for sure. I felt like I wasn't doing a great job as a teacher at that time, which I think that was a pretty common theme for teachers talking to them. But I had a lot of time, and I thought I could be running, but it turns out I spent more time trying to perfect the perfect margarita than I did trying to become a better runner. I got pretty good at it too. But it took me a little time after COVID to kind of get back into the swing of things and run. And IT 100 was like my first foray back into serious training and racing. I didn't train leading up to it. It was after I started running again. So I think my long run going into IT, which would have been 2021 maybe, somewhere in there. My longest run was 15 miles, and that was with my sister-in-law. So we did like a walk, jog, 15-mile run, and I felt great at that race. I got to mile 80, and I looked at my watch, and I ran a mile under 8-minute pace at mile 80. And then at mile 86, I walked the rest of the way in. I was totally just demolished. I had no energy, didn't properly fuel. Like I said, there's a lot of common themes here. But I had no training going into that. I had no business running as fast as I was trying to run. So I was just depleted and demoralized, and just watched everyone pass me, including my sister-in-law. She passed me with like 2 miles to go. but that got the ball rolling and got me into this, like, where I am now with running and racing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, IT 100. I'm gonna have to go back and get IT 100 done. Like that was my first attempt at 100 miler, and it went so bad. It went so it got cold, and I was
Oh
just
yeah,
same. Yeah, I get to like the 100K mark, and it just kind of came undone for me. But
yeah. In the middle of the night.
yeah, I'm at the double.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always hit that like for some reason I always hit this like crisis mode at like 100K every time.
Mm-hmm.
I just like haven't quite got over that hump yet, but I'm getting there.
It's a great race. I love
I'm at,
the trails
yeah,
and the aid stations there. The volunteers are awesome at that race. Like it's
yeah.
worth
The
coming.
trail is all the yeah. Like each aid station is like it's like its own party.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. I will say that it's like probably the best supported race I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing their best to keep me moving. I just didn't have it in me
Yeah.
that particular day. But well, yeah, that's So from there, I guess I want to jump into. I mean, so you said IT 100 is IT like after IT 100, you really that was like a big learning lesson for you, right? That's like,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that's kind of what set in motion, like where you are now, like with your running is like that was kind of like your benchmark, like well you knocked out Tunnel Hill, you knocked out IT 100,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like it must have set something off for you.
Yeah. So Tunnel Hill was more of like I had good vibes going out of that. I felt really good about myself. It was a good race. IT 100 was more, well, okay, you kind of stopped training. You can't just jump off the couch and run a good 100-mile race. It's not going to happen. So that was kind of like the kick in the pants to like, okay, we're going to take it a little more seriously now and try to um, train a little bit more. Um, and then that kind of led me to my first backyard, which would have been in 2022, I believe, up in Michigan, the Eau de Laz backyard up there. So I did that one. Just
Okay.
kind of, I'd never heard of the format. Um, it had been around for a little bit by then, but it was kind of new to me, and I'm like, this sounds awesome. So I signed up and kind of looked at what the format was, and I thought, okay, I'll try to run like 40-minute laps, and I'll have all this time to rest. So I run that first lap, first yard, I guess, in about 40 minutes, and I'm like, I'm in the lead, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be in the lead. I don't know. The runners who I knew were good were way back behind me, so I kind of pivoted right then and there, and was like, okay, I'm just going to do what they do. And things went pretty well there. Did really well throughout that first night, and the next morning felt good. But cramps once again, like late that second morning into the afternoon, you know, got me. Fairly hilly course um, with a lot of roots, and every time I would step down with my toe pointed like to climb over a root or something, calf would just cramp up. Um, so it was a learning experience there about fueling properly and just electrolytes. Hadn't learned it yet, but I got it now. Don't worry.
Yeah, it seems like you got that dialed in these days, right? Every once in a while, I have to, about once a year, I have to like screw around and not worry about electrolytes. And then I always like learn this hard lesson. And it's funny because it's always at the same race. I always do Okotoks trail runs up in Valparaiso, and
Okay.
it's like always the hottest day. And that's the one race I'm like, it'll be out because it always starts cooler up there, and because
Mhm.
it's got a little bit of lake effect wind,
Yeah.
and it's like always by mile like 16, I'm like dragging one of my legs across the finish line. But yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn when you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I learned quickly. The last 2 years, I was able. Well, the first year where we were both at Prairie on Fire,
Hmm.
and like my first year seeing Cam, uh, I was like watching the people, sorry, that I knew were doing well these backyards, and that's something I caught on to pretty quickly, is they were always the ones at the back.
Hmm.
Like whenever the lap would start, the yard would start, you'd see everyone take off, and you see all these people in the back, and I was like, oh, those are the ones that are like going the distance here. Now, luckily, it's something I learned pretty quickly watching Cam and you, and then Chris Lebke at Grind on the Grid. Like, that, I mean, that dude does incredible things at backyards also.
Yeah.
And also a school teacher,
Yes.
by the way.
I met
So
him
that's
at
something
Ohio as well. That's where I met him.
yeah.
And found out he was.
So that's something I want to ask at some point, because I have a theory about this. But yeah, it's like something I caught on to pretty early is like all these people that go the distance are usually starting in the back. So yeah, so you said that kind of like kickstarted your training, but how do you think maybe your like relationship with running has changed since you've like learned all these things, and like you keep setting these new distances? It's something that you must love. But how do you think like your relationship with running has developed, from the Hawthorne half day till now 2025 Prairie on Fire?
Yeah. So back in the Hawthorne half day, years, it was more of I would run, when the weather was nice. I'm not going to be running in the winter very often. I may go run when it's, 4 inches of snow just because, that's cool, but I'm not going to go run when it's just like, 10 degrees and windy. I'll just stay in. I'm not doing that. Whereas now, I'm going to run 6 days a week, maybe 7. And it's become a part of my life where, I can take time off. I mean, I took a random week off in the middle of the summer this year. Just felt like, I was getting a little flat, needed to take time off. So it's not something I feel like I have to do, but it is definitely a major part of my life. I think it makes me a better person. I think it makes me a better teacher. I run in a lot of the times in the morning before school, and I feel like I have more energy. I'm ready to go right off the bat. So it is part of me. And I'm kind of going through my fiance right now. She's getting over a stress fracture in her hip. She runs as well. And seeing her, having to struggle with being on crutches for 9 weeks, and not be able to do anything. I'm like, man, pardon my language. I'm like, I think I'd be an asshole if I had to be going through what you're going through right now. Because she's handling it very well, but it's like, I need to at least be moving and doing something, because it is important to me. I don't know if ultras will always be what I end up gravitating towards. I mean, I may eventually just kind of, run a marathon and try to do a fast marathon at some time. I've never really tried that yet. But running, I think, will always be, as long as I'm able, be a part of what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. That's something I haven't done yet either. I have not run an official marathon. I keep thinking I maybe need to, like, once I found ultra and trail, I was like, I don't want to do anything else. But over the years and like hosting this podcast, I've gotten to meet more road runners and talk with more road runners. And it's like, I've been like getting more marathon curious, but something that may sound like wild to hear like an ultra distance runner say is like, I'm kind of afraid of the marathon, because it's like, I mean, yeah, it sounds, I mean, I've run that distance for like training for other stuff, but I've never like tried to run a fast marathon time.
Yeah.
And that kind of terrifies me in a lot of ways. I'm kind of scared of it. So it's something I thought about, maybe like I have a few distances I need to knock out first, and then maybe I'll double back, and like, I think it'd be cool to do like the Indy Monumental or something, maybe next year. So yeah, that's something that I still haven't done yet. I went from Indy Mini to Jackson County 50K, and I just kept
Basically the same race.
yeah, right. Yeah. Just so much more climbing on that. But no. Prairie on Fire was my first ultra. Sorry. Okay. I did Prairie on Fire and then Jackson County 50K.
Okay.
But need to double back and get that marathon done. But it's a lot of time on the road. But I might have to get used to that for Ball State. But Yeah, same. My relationship with running is kind of about the same thing. I used to be like a fair weather runner, and I've been forcing myself to run in all the elements.
Hmm.
Run commuting's been a big part of my training and running. It keeps me at like, it doesn't matter the weather. I get out the door. And like you said, by the time I get to work, it's like kind of knocked off an edge. Like I
Hmm.
feel a little bit more calm. I'm not an educator, but I arrive to work a little bit better, I think. And then if I have a crappy day, by the time I get home, it's all behind me. I don't take my work home. It's
Hmm.
been pretty good. And not just exercise. It's kind of beyond exercise for me now. It's
Oh, for sure.
it's just something I do. It's like it's more of like a mental exercise now
Yeah.
than it is a physical thing. But so yeah, I certainly agree with all that you said. Yeah. So yeah. So let's talk about backyards. So I have a theory. You're an educator.
Hmm.
Um, Chris Chris is an educator. Chris Lubke's an educator. I've had Meg Eckert on. Meg's a friend of the show, also an educator, and a big influence in my life has been Harvey Lewis. That's why I run commute. Actually, when I first started run commuting, I saw he had this pack on,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like, "What is that pack?" And he sent me the link to it, and I bought that pack like immediately. The zip running pack that Harvey's got.
Hmm.
I've actually had John Swain, the owner of Zip Podcast, before. Really, really cool company, cool dude. But I digress. Harvey's also an educator.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think? What's your theory behind all these educators making this like really, really great like backyard and like long distance runners? Because there's so many educators that are like just crushing miles, and I'm assuming it has something to do with like maybe patience, like troubleshooting. But that's just my theory. What do you think? What do you think it is?
Patience was the first thing I was going to say. Very To be a teacher, to be an educator, you've got to be very calm and patient, and just flexible with how the day is going to go, because you never know, which I think pays off really well for ultras and especially backyards. It's like nothing's going to go exactly the way you want it to or you think it's going to. Um, so you pivot, you find some other way. You take two salt pills at the aid station, and it solves everything. Um, but definitely patience. I think that flexibility with throughout the day, and maybe something that isn't as thought of as much is the fact that what, my day is over at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if I need to run some more miles, I can. So um, I get most of my running done in the morning before work. Um, so early morning. But if I need to get some more miles, or if I decided to sleep in that morning, I usually have time in that afternoon to get those miles in as well. So that definitely helps. And then I can put in some monster miles over the summer as well. Um, Having that, those 8 weeks off, kind of lends itself to, you know, really gearing up for like a fall race.
Oh yeah, that's where all the magic happens, right? Like
Hmm.
you you slog through those summer miles, like through the humidity. And of course, Indiana, it has like the craziest humidity.
Yeah.
You like
This
slog
summer
through all this.
was so rough.
It was wild. Foolishly enough, a buddy of mine that lives up around Chicago, we decided to do a 4x4x48, and it was like
Oh yeah.
it was like the hottest weekend that we had in like 10 years. It was crazy. I
I
was
haven't
just
done it
so
yet.
Yeah, I was so tired of sweating. I was just like, I cannot wait for this to be over. I'm so tired of sweating. It was so
My
bad.
shoes were wet more often than they were dry this summer. I'm a very heavy sweater, so that's something that, like, my shoes would just be sloshing the whole time.
Yeah,
It was kind of miserable.
I'm the same way. Like my shoes will just like sweat will be running out of the sole. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah, same.
They smell great.
Yeah. I just keep my trail shoes in my car now. I'm like, I'm not bringing these inside the house. I don't want to do that to the rest of my family. Well, cool. Yeah. Something that's like, I guess, our common bond outside of running is Prairie on Fire. So, and I see the award behind you, which it looks
Yeah.
phenomenal.
It is
So
phenomenal.
yeah, So tell me what got you, how'd that get on your radar? And this, I have a lot of questions about that day. Like, yeah, run us through that.
Yeah, so honestly, my fiance lives in Noblesville. I was still living in uh, near Terre Haute, a little town called Brazil, Indiana, to where I grew up. But once I met her, started coming up and visiting and all that, and then that's really honestly when I first saw that I didn't even know there was a backyard in Noblesville. So once I saw it, I'm like, well, I got to do that. It's right here. So um, signed up for that. It would have been my third backyard, I think, at the time. Um, so um, yeah, just I'd never been out to Katiwi. Great, it's an awesome park. It's a, I'm telling you, it's the perfect spot for a backyard ultra. Um, you could, if you had, the top ultra or backyard guys there, I don't know what they could run because I think I did like 10 miles out there the other day, and Strava said I had like 28 feet of elevation gain. So, like, I don't know what like I'm saying, like the best of the best could do out there. They may run for a week out there. So it's kind of the perfect place if you want to, set a PR for distance. Like, it's the place to do it, I think. I will always run that race. I think like it's TJ does an awesome job. Um, like the amount of people that actually come just to watch, like it's the atmosphere is like a party, especially that first day and that first night. Um, don't plan on getting any sleep that first night if you're trying to, because it's pretty loud and crazy, and people are cheering and all that. But yeah, I think it'll be on my calendar every year, um, for the foreseeable future. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was bummed I couldn't run it this year, but I didn't, like, I got hurt, I got injured, and then I tried to run injured, ended up like cracking some ribs on a trail run. I was like, I
Ooh.
didn't know I was going to be, yeah, it was tough. And then, so I didn't sign up. So, and then I felt bad, obviously, because, like, Prairie on Fire means so much to me. And TJ is like, I consider him a good friend. Um, and the day of Prairie on Fire, I felt phenomenal. So, yeah, I was just like, obviously, this is how this would work. I was able to sneak in one lap while I was there, but
Yeah.
because I delivered the awards that morning and wanted to see everybody off. But yeah, it was like I didn't sleep either because I kept watching the updates. But so it's just like, how's everybody doing? And I'm buddies with Cam and John Faust, and
Hmm.
Christy D is a good
Yeah.
friend of
Awesome.
mine. So it was like, yeah. So seeing all my friends running throughout the night, I was just like, but it was so cool to see everybody crush it again this year. And like, to your point, TJ just puts on, like, I couldn't think anybody that's any better at what they do. And
No.
TJ is like, yeah,
And he's like tweaked it a little bit each year. I've done it the last 2 years. He did some tweaks this year that were just like just little things that you don't notice from the outside looking in, but it's like it's it's he does a great job. Like, it's grown. Like, I've heard him talk about how I think 7 people signed up the first one, maybe 5 years ago, and now he's sold out. 6 months
yeah,
beforehand. He's even trying to increase the amount of people and create like a second starting corral, so he can get more people out there because the demand um, is off the charts. And I think that documentary definitely has a lot to do with that.
yeah, yeah, huge. It was so well shot
Yeah.
too. John Kuhn just like knocked that out of the park. But um,
Yeah, I've always wondered
yeah,
like why
certainly.
more races don't do documentaries like that. And I'm like, well, not everybody has John Kuhn to piece them
Not anybody's
together
John
like
Kuhn.
that.
I know I may have to bug him to shoot my 8 hour next year.
Hmm.
That'll be kind of a cool nuance to that. Which TJ and Christy came out and they just like crushed it
Hey,
for that
yes.
8 hour. Yeah, yeah, it was so crazy. Um, yeah, shout out to TJ. He gave me I bugged him. I bugged a lot of local race directors for my first thing, and TJ was like a huge influence, and he helped out a ton. Like, I felt like I had a lot of dumb questions, and TJ is just like, no, man, like, was like he was the first of anybody to help me out, along with some other great local directors. But so yeah, absolutely super appreciative of all he does. So tell me, like, I guess I'm curious. Are you like, you see some backyard setup where people have like these like shoe organizers with like their like, are you that nice with your
Yeah.
backyards?
Well, that's kind of changed since I've met my fiance. So, um, the first few I ran were literally I've got boxes of like food. I've got a bag with some clothes in it, and we're gonna just kind of wing it and see what happens. Um, and when you're running these things, you don't really see. I don't have time to go look at other people's setups and kind of see what they're doing. I've never been great on researching and kind of figuring out, what's the proper way to do something. Um, but
Same.
she's like, hey, yeah, these other people are like, they're really organized. Like they know what they're doing. She goes, we've got to get more organized. Like I remember like the first time I ran the Ohio backyard, which would have been last March. Like I had everything I brought fit into the trunk of my Honda Civic. Like I didn't have hardly anything. Um, it got so cold, our water froze. I didn't have a heater. Like it was just okay. I wasn't prepared. So that this year, we came back. We brought a van. We've got a big heater, a propane heater that was, we got a cot. We've got everything, an actual table to put things on. So we've gotten more organized, but I still think we've got a little bit of room for improvement here in the next couple of years to really dial it in. Kind of following. We just finished up. They just finished Biggs World Championships yesterday.
God,
Um,
yeah.
so kind of watching that on and off throughout the week and seeing what those setups looked like. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes things easily accessible, organized, and you kind of can follow a plan. Whereas I'm like, I think there's some food over here. That doesn't really work when you only have, 5 minutes to take care of things and get back out there.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to work on. I plan on doing a couple, like, I guess inadvertently took a break from backyards this year. I didn't want to, but I plan on, like obviously Prairie on Fire will be on the list, and Grind on the Grid is another one of my favorites. Also great. I know Matt. He's like a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal dude and great race
Yeah.
director. So I'm going to try to organize like same thing. My first backyard, I just had like a cooler on the ground with a chair.
Yeah.
Like this last year, I actually had like a canopy with like a table. So
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
I'll
you're
get my
moving up.
clothes, and I'm moving up. I'm moving up because I was just like, I watched all these people working through their yards, and it's like, holy cow! Like they're like food, like clothes. I'm like, I'm having to dig through like
Yes. Yeah.
a bag full of. So this year I'll maybe get a little bit better and try to learn a few lessons that I've gleaned over the last couple of years. But yeah, certainly. Um, so yeah, go. All these backyards. What's your longest distance in a backyard? I felt like it was like
So 49, so it'd be
150.
204.
Sorry. Okay. What do you think you've learned? Not just like on a physical aspect. I mean, obviously,
Mhm.
you have to be like dialed in. Um, your body has to be dialed in for these distances. What do you think you've learned, like about yourself over, like as you keep like growing and
Mhm.
you further these back mentally? What do you think all this process?
Yeah, I've definitely learned, and you hear this a lot in ultra that like mentally you're capable of more than you probably think you physically can do. Um, so every time I run a backyard, I've either run a personal best or I've won the race before I've ran a personal best. So I've always felt like um, the physical part, like if I've run this before, I can do that again and a little bit more. I can do more. Um, but mentally, I've kind of learned the positivity aspect of just being positive as much as you can. Like there are going to be times where you're going to not want to be very positive. Things are rough. You're struggling, um, but and I running with Harvey in March at the Ohio backyard kind of was a turning point for me because I mean he was, I think it was like maybe the last 10 hours we were the last two and we were running together. And he was just so positive with me. I was struggling. I was having my first hallucinations. um, and so he was kind of helping me through that, like, and then just kind of coaxing me along and giving me tips and, you know, just kind of, um, treating me awesome, honestly, because he wanted to go, you know, he wanted to go far. And, you know, if I decide to give up, then he's done. He didn't get that run that he wanted either. So that's something I've kind of taken from him. It's just outwardly being positive with other runners. Um, I do most of my training, 90% plus of my training by myself. Um, Especially like running in the morning. There aren't many people wanting to meet me at 4:30 in the morning. Um, but I do most of my running by myself. And so I think my first few backyards, like you're running with all these people, but like I'm a quiet guy most of the time. Um, I don't start conversations. Um, you know, I was a shy kid, you know, all through high school and everything. Um, I'm growing out of it in my later years, I think. But I wouldn't really start conversations. I'd kind of wait for people to come, you know, talk to me, and then I'm fine. I would talk to them and all that, have that conversation. But I found myself, especially after running with Harvey, like starting conversations with people and giving encouragement, like throughout the entire event. Like if I was running by someone, I was saying something to them. And looking back, I'm like, man, it made me feel so good. It was like a performance enhancing drug for me to be
Yeah.
so positive with everyone else. Like, I don't think that's going to change for me. I think I will continue to do that. Um, it's hard to, you know, if you're smiling and talking to someone, it's hard to feel that bad. Like you can, if you can smile, then you can probably keep on going. So, um, that's definitely something that's changed over this time.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because that's kind of what I've been focusing on lately is like I'm like kind of coined it like gratitude forward
Hmm.
running now. And there's something to that like even if you feel terrible, like trying to put a smile on your face, it's like amazing. Like
Yeah.
you'll like you're like you'll even if I have to like force a smile, I noticed after a few minutes I forget that I'm forcing it and I'm
Yeah.
actually smiling. It's like remembering like how like what a gift it is that we get to do this kind of stuff. Like it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's something I try to work hard to not take for granted, you know. Yeah, and then being nice to the people, it does boost you. It's just like giving a high five or like saying to a like a aid station worker, it's like turn you around too.
Yes. Yeah.
I know there's got to be something behind that, but it's
Yeah.
some science that I don't understand, but it will turn it around for you. So that yeah, that's been my focus too. Like you know, I'm getting a little bit better as I go. I've been able to push the envelope a little bit more too, and I think a lot of it has to do more so training. I mean, I think it has a lot of like a mindset, you know, kind of being
Yes.
gracious for the opportunity to run has certainly been my big focus
I
this
mean,
year.
I haven't reached the David Roach "You're awesome, I love you" level of every time I pass someone, but I'm I do generally at least say hi and good afternoon or good morning or whatever every time I see someone, you know, running at home, things like that. So it does definitely does help for sure.
Yeah, I love watching his documentaries. I mean, even when he's like, you can tell he's in a bad spot. He's just like still, you know, so
Yes.
personable. It seems so.
Yeah.
I try to keep, I try to keep people like Dave Roach in mind, and my buddy Wes Plate. Like he runs like 200 plus milers, and like you always
Ah,
seen his videos.
love
He's
his
just like,
videos. Yeah.
yeah. Just seeing his videos, like he's always so grateful. I'm just like, so I've been trying to like personify uh, those people as I've been, you know, doing more and more races.
And I've also trying
Um,
to do that because I've been told by more than one person I look mad when I run a lot of the times. And like looking at my you know your race photos never look good anyway. But yeah, there are a couple where I just look very serious and like maybe I'm concentrating and so I try to like relax my face a little bit and smile and you know yeah. that helps. So, yeah, that's a little reason why as well.
So, random question: your school teacher, you're in your classroom, which I think
Mhm.
is kind of cool, and your 2025 award is in the back. What do your students think about all this that you're doing? Do like I don't know what age level you teach, but like
Yeah, I'm in.
do they like understand?
Yeah, so I teach fourth grade. Um,
Okay.
so I've taught fourth grade for the last 18 years. But this is my first year at this school. So I teach in Tipton, Indiana. So just north of like Noblesville. Um, so they didn't know anything going into this race. I didn't share anything with them. Kids at my last school, they figured it out and knew, and so they didn't know. But one of the teachers in the school like saw a random Instagram post from someone they followed about the rate about Prairie on Fire, and so they're like, "This is you! Like, what? I didn't know you did this." Because I keep things pretty low key. Like I don't talk about myself very often. It's very uncomfortable. Um, um, but once they found out, like they wanted to know all about it. So I brought in the award, mainly because I live in a very small house and there's really nowhere. This thing's huge. There's nowhere to hang it
Yeah.
right now. I didn't want to just throw it in the garage. It looks too nice. So we brought it in. They wanted to see it, and I've kind of left it here. But they think it's amazing. Like they've told their parents, and we had parent teacher conferences a week or so ago, and they're saying that you like ran like 150 miles like in less than 2 days, and they're like, "That's." I told them that's not possible, and I'm like, "It's kind of possible." Like I did do that. So I think anytime you can show kids that putting your mind to something and doing something that's extremely difficult um, is a good thing. My fiance's kids got to come to Prairie on Fire this year. They kind of got to see me on Sunday for most of that day. They had never, they heard me about me running, but never had actually been to a race. So having them there and just, they were excited and got to run with me to the finish line and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's cool.
um, I love sharing it with younger people. And I tell, they're 10 years old, but I tell my fourth graders, like, just find something you're passionate about, no matter what it is. And like, that's what you want to, that's what you need to do. Like, don't worry about anything else. Just figure it out. And you don't have to know at 10, because when I was 10, I think I wanted to be an astronaut. So, um, like you'll figure it out and just do it. I figured out I wanted to be a teacher. I couldn't imagine being anything else. And I figured out I like to run long distances, and I couldn't imagine, you know, riding a bike or anything like that. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I like to do.
Yeah. Kudos to you and like all educators. It's obviously it's the most important thing. Like we have to learn. Like I like to consider myself like a student of life. I guess I never want to ever stop learning.
Yeah.
So and I have a lot of I wasn't always an easy student.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of very patient educators that got me where I am today. And I'm always appreciative of the few that took the time
Oh,
and put up with me when I
oh.
was younger. Oh, sorry about that.
Um,
But so
yeah,
yeah.
I hadn't moved, so my lights went off.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
No, and I take
So
things,
yeah,
that I've learned with ultra running, and I try to, instill that in kids as well, like grit and determination and just um, those sorts of things that I think are just good, traits for kids to have and that are maybe lacking a little bit. Hard work, those types of things. We talk about them every day for, at least a few minutes to kind of start our day. Um, and let them share, when they've showed grit or when they've when they've done something that was difficult and they didn't give up. We share those with the class, and I think that's something they'll remember and kind of take with them going forward, and hopefully, and it may not end up being runners, but they'll
yeah.
stick it out doing something. Yeah,
That's kind of how I feel. It's like with my kids, of course, I tell my kids like, yeah, I ran 100K or whatever the distance, and they're just like, oh, cool.
yeah,
But so it's like it may not be running, but maybe they'll find, like to your point, like they'll find something they're passionate about and they'll want to chase it. I always kind of had this saying, like, find something you're passionate about and like chase it unapologetically. And I'm
Hmm.
hoping that maybe like me sharing my passions with my kids will maybe, whatever they decide to do, it, like I said, it doesn't have to be running. It can be anything. Maybe it'll give them like, something to look at, but
For sure.
so yeah, I think that's cool that you share that with your students. It's ringing. It's landing with somebody, and probably more than one person. So
Yeah.
you know that that difference will shine through. So I can't talk to you for almost an hour without asking at least a music question. I don't know if you run with music, but as we talked before I hit record, we host a music podcast, and anytime I see some, I follow you on Strava. You're logging a lot of good miles. I'm like, I wonder what he's listening to for these, 12. I think this morning you ran like 12 miles along Geist Reservoir. Someone's like, oh, I wonder what
Morse.
Jeff was
Yeah.
listening. Morris, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was a reservoir.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Jeff was listening to, if he was listening to anything at all for that run.
This morning, no, I was actually like trying to run without music and think, okay, what am I going to talk about on this podcast this evening? That sort of thing. I was like, I need to
Yeah.
just think this through because like I started looking back and like I can't remember what races when I ran races and stuff like that. So I had to kind of piece things together in my head. So I do wear headphones when I run most of the time now. For years, and this has been like maybe the last 3 years I've run with music or podcasts. Before that, I never wore them. I just listened to my breathing and footsteps. Um, and so now I'd say more than music, more often I'm listening to podcasts, um, like Beyond the Finish Line with Joe Hardin. It's a great one
Oh,
to
heck yeah! Shout out.
listen to. But I do listen to music occasionally as well, especially if it's just going to be a really long run. Just listening to talking the whole time it gets boring after a while. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's kind of like I still have and I've seen memes on this before with runners like you still listen to the same music you listened to in high school um, when you run, and I definitely have a lot of that stuff on my playlist. So like I'm thinking back to high school cross country with like Weezer, the Blue Album was like
Ooh,
the
phenomenal.
yeah, it was like the album in high school for cross country runners for some reason. If I hear like The Distance by Cake, I still am ready to start doing some strides on the start line and run a fast 5K. Um, Dashboard Confessional, I still have a couple of their songs on my playlist. Um, but nowadays, if I'm listening, most of the stuff is going to be like I'm into more like Sam Barber, Dylan Gossett, Tyler Childers.
Ooh, Tyler Childers.
I found, and they're not new, but I found like old 97s like 2 years ago. I'd never heard of them before in my life, and started listening to that sort of them as well. So that's kind of what I'm into, that country folk kind of Americana type stuff.
Cool. Yeah, Tyler Childers is usually. It depends on where I'm running.
Hmm.
If I'm running trail, it'll be like high lonesome bluegrassy
Hmm.
stuff. Tyler Childers, Cody Jinks. Like I love this group called Whitey Morgan the 78s, or like Brent Cobb. But road, I'll lean towards like hip hop, or I'm a kid from the grunge era, so like it's funny that you say Weezer. I was listening to El Scorcho on my run
Yeah,
home.
yeah, yeah.
So
That came
um,
on like maybe Tuesday on my run. I think that one came on.
that's cool. So yeah, like I'll hit some Weezer, like Radiohead, or I as a teenager I was wearing Vans and
Yeah,
you know whole like torn up jeans and flannel most every day. So
yeah. And if I'm running like a faster paced run, uh, then it goes back to like Rage Against the Machine or
oh yeah,
something like that from high school. I don't really
cool. Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to that type of music now, so I don't have anything current to go off of. So I basically just listen to, what I did in high school.
Yeah, same here. I can't quite get out of that '90s, 2000s era. Um, well, cool. Yeah, Jeff, it's been really cool getting to know you. I guess I don't know when I'll see you next. We'll have to figure out a race where I see you, and we'll have to at least say hi. I know you'll probably be a little bit ahead of me at that thing, but yeah, I plan on hitting some backyards this year, so I'm sure I'll see you around. But we'll have to share some miles.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's been cool watching. You know, just you're crushing it, dude. It's you're truly gave me some inspiration to keep at these backyards. It's a tough nut to crack, as you know.
Yeah.
And I'll get it figured out. But I learn something new each time, just like you said. I learn a little bit new, like a newer lesson, maybe a hard lesson, but I learn something new about every
Yeah.
time I take one of those on. So, well, cool. Yeah, I just appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, it's been a blast.
Yeah, and anybody who's listening, thanks for tuning in. This was a great chat. Yeah, keep a lookout for Jeff. He's out there just crushing these backyards. It's pretty cool to watch. If you get a chance to run into him, say hi to him. He's a really nice guy. So if you could hit the subscribe button, share the podcast, review it, whatever you got to do, it's much appreciated. And I will see you all next time beyond the finish line. Cool.